Member for Hastings.
Thank you, Speaker. I rise to give my contribution to the Safe Patient Care Amendment Bill of 2025, also known as the Nurse to Patient and Midwife to Patient Ratio Bills. I've been listening to the debates today, and I was a little bit disappointed that the debates on that side were very much not on the bill, but very much really an opportunity to sort of whinge and complain about maybe not having a hospital or not having some money for funding. It was just disappointing because we actually all agree that this bill is a terrific bill, and we agree that we're going to support it. So I guess the politics of it is that you take the opportunity to have a go at the opposition. I am a little bit tired of the glass empty on that side and the glass full on this side. Anyway, that's just a personal observation of mine. I was thinking about this bill, and I've got notes which I might get to. I was thinking if someone jumped on Hansard and had a look at this bill, read it, or even listened to the debate, I'm wondering what they would think of it. And there's been a lot said on this side about the mechanics of the bill and what it does and the nurse-patient ratio. But I actually thought, what actually does this bill do for someone like me or someone that's just looked at Hansard? And it was pretty interesting because on Monday I took my favourite middle daughter to hospital yet again, and she's going in for treatment, for pain treatment for the severe pain that she experiences because of her Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, her endometriosis, her endomyosis and her POTS. And it's never easy taking your child into hospital, and I say I had to, and I do have to, I don't want to. And it's never easy standing up after you've sat with them, waiting for them to go in, and then walking away from the hospital. It doesn't matter, my favourite middle daughter is now 33, I think, 34 this year, and it never gets easy. But the one thing that helps is the nurse that comes out and talks to her. The one thing that helps is that, I guess, sort of that peace of mind that she is going to be cared for by someone that legitimately, genuinely cares, by someone who loves their job, even though it's incredibly gruelling and hard and they've sacrificed so much over the last 6 or 7 years in a very extraordinary time. It gives me some peace of mind that I can go home without being a mess in the car, and I can sit at home wondering how my daughter's going, knowing that 24 hours a day there is a nurse coming in to look after her, to talk to her, to make sure she's doing okay. And when she's not doing okay, they're there to help her get through that. So that's what this bill does. It's not an opportunity to complain about not getting the hospital or not getting funding. This bill is about supporting not just the patient, and not just the patient's health and well-being and care, but it's also about supporting me and everyone else here that's had to take their kid to hospital, or their parent or brother, or that's what this bill is. It also is about caring for the nurses and the midwives and making sure that they're getting the support that they need for their physical well-being, for their mental well-being. And so as I sat around going, what is this bill? And I'm going to talk about, the boring bits and whatever. Actually, I've spent that much time, I might not. But that is what the bill is, and it's something that I'm trying to work on in this place, to really understand what the bills do for people out of this place, so that they understand the work we're doing, but better still, they understand the work that the nurses, the midwives, and the rest are doing in regards to this bill. And I think it's really important that we try and maintain that understanding that we are here to represent our community, and they don't necessarily want to hear us bickering about a bunch of stuff that we do, and they don't necessarily understand things like the one-to-one nurse occupied bed ratio and the changes in shifts and some of that, the 1.6 to 1.4 anecdotal postnatal ward. They don't get that. So I think it's important that we try and explain it in a different manner. So I'm not going to go and do that. Instead, what I also want to talk about is the idea that I spoke about in my inaugural, and we often talk about, and we talked about in the Royal Commission a lot, and that is the lived experience. And people with lived experience, especially in the health industry, are so much better at giving what patients need, you know. I think, and I'll just talk about one story quickly. When my wife and I had our first child, although my wife had it, I was just with her. But I might just say it took 36 hours. So the first labour was 36 hours. My favourite second daughter was born in 4 hours, but my favourite eldest daughter took 36 hours. She was hanging on. But in the time that we were there, we went through 3 shifts of midwives, and then they came back again. And, you know, as two young, inexperienced, frightened, vulnerable people, which, you know, we all are when we take our kids to hospital or go to hospital or you go into a birthing suite for the very first time, you know, you're frightened. You know, you're trying to have the courage and be brave, and you really rely on those people that stand opposite you, that come into the room and go, "Are you okay?" You go, "Yeah, I'm okay. I'll be back in a minute." "Okay," and they come back in a minute, and you know you're safe. So the 36 hours of our first daughter's birth was very long, very frightening, and we sort of only survived it to a great extent because of the wonderful midwives. And I believe one of them was pregnant. And they were all terrific, but she was really terrific because she was pregnant. And so, there was that sort of lived experience of, I know what's going to happen and whatnot. Anyway, my daughter was born and, you know, she's very loud and very opinionated, and I love her very much, and she's terrific. But not long after that, I heard that the midwife that had been wonderful and was pregnant had her birth at the birthing centre where we were, but she lost her baby. Yeah, really hard. And she gave so much to us and to so many, many people. But I understand that after that, she went back to work. And I just think, when we talk about people with lived experience, and when we talk about our nurses and midwives and all those people, the courage that they have to turn up to work every day in the face of, you know, all sorts of issues, difficulties, having to watch other people maybe lose their children or loved ones, but they can turn up day in, day out with their lived experience and still remain compassionate and have empathy and have courage. I just think it's really extraordinary. So, and I think, you know, I'd like to think that this bill acknowledges that also, because again, the more we can do to help and support our frontline people, the better. And so obviously, I'm very, very happy as a part of the Labor government that the EBA for nurses and midwives, and they got a 28% pay rise. And I don't think anyone that's actually been in hospital would begrudge that. The last time I was in hospital, I went to my doctor. I was a bit hot, I wasn't feeling too good, and they decided to put me in an ambulance and lights and sirens, which was quite fun, and got to emergency, and I was in a bit of a queue. I think my temperature was 42 or 43, I was sweating. Anyway, so look, I'm very grateful that they allowed me to jump the queue, and I was in a little room waiting for treatment, and my doctor was very busy and couldn't help me because in the cubicle across the way they were resuscitating someone who died, and I was lying there listening to it, and really it's quite horrific in that way. You know, they're saying, "Do you want to go again?" "No, we'll leave it." And then my doctor came in with a smile on his face, and the nurse, and I'm thinking, how on earth can you just go through what you went through and still come in and give me the time of day and be genuine and compassionate to me? They're extraordinary people, and I thank them from the very, very bottom of my heart, and I commend this bill to the House.